The Northern Territory Government is under pressure to show how it will fund alternative programs for young people even before the Royal Commission to Youth Detention makes its report. Successive Northern Territory governments have cut funding for youth diversion, rehabilitation and activity programs. Some of the best remaining are now run by community volunteers. Jane Bardon reports from one of them, the Palmerston Boxing Club, which participants have found life-changing.
Up, put them back.
Byron Davis established this boxing club 10 years ago to fill a gap.
Beautiful, you mum. Awesome.
There was missing some community sporting structure of allowing young fellas and young people in general to release natural aggression.
At first it was an activity for his own children, growing up in a tough area.
There's a lot of dysfunctionalism. As a result, there's a lack of role models, there's drug and alcohol, there's crime and the police are involved.
10 seconds.
The original intention wasn't to prevent young people going into the justice system.
Come back in, come back in.
I didn't set it up as a form of natural justice, an alternative form of rehabilitation for people. But people are finding that escape.
That's particularly true for students with problems controlling behaviour.
I would get really angry all the time, and I would like lose it at some people and stuff like that, like with my anger problems.
All their grades would come up to me, push me around, and I would hit them.
They're learning self-awareness and control.
It's taught me to control my anger and discipline. We box, we don't fight. So you just come here, instead of just punching on with someone, just come here and punch on with the bags.
It helped me like mature, be more mature, stuff like that, and yeah, it helped at school.
As a teenager, James Monk narrowly avoided going into youth detention for stealing and drugs. He's now coaching his sons.
So learn from my mistakes, and just, I don't want them even to begin on any of that kind of path or anything like that, you know.
What is it different about the way Byron motivates people than, your kind of standard authority figure?
Doesn't make you feel like you have to do it. Makes you feel like, you're a part of it, you want to do it.
The club gets no funding from Boxing Australia nor the Northern Territory Government.
Because I don't get funded by no one to do anything. I do it as a volunteer, this sport. I do it because of the love and through what my children have been through.
The Royal Commission into Youth Detention has heard evidence of deficits in youth diversion and activity programmes.
Sadly, it's really unclear for many young people coming through the system when they're released, what's next? Where to from here, essentially. Essentially, they gravitate back to their peer group support and end up back in the criminal justice system.
The Territory Government has promised to respond by moving money from detention to rehabilitation.
One of the big tasks for us before our first budget is orienting our money towards early intervention and prevention. We made that very clear coming in, and that's the work I've given to my ministers.
It may ask the federal government to contribute.
There's been no indication from the Commonwealth they're not willing to be part of doing that work.
Volunteers like Byron Davis will continue to do what they can.
He's taught me not to do anything bad and just walk away from all the bad stuff.
And on to a positive life path. Jane Bardon, ABC News.